Good morning everyone and welcome to Live Darts TV. Myself and Paul, we're sat here. I think we're still in a bit of shock after last night's unbelievable session.
Where do we start? Okay, well we might as well start with a 9-darter then. We can pick this apart for many a minute. First and foremost, last night he was involved in one of the best games you'll see at Blackpool, and he was able to hit a 9-darter and then hit another 1-4-1 checkout in the very next leg to give himself a 3-2 lead. And the way he was playing, the first thing that came to mind was, how was Cullen sticking with him? And that was almost the key to the match. Joe just kept sticking with him, and he was actually ahead by 2 legs, 2/3 through. And I thought, you know what, sometimes when people hit 9-darters, they do lose great matches. But the thing that I could have mentioned the most is he's won that match and hit a 9-darter and he's using the wrong flights.
Yeah.
That just goes to show the talent of Gary Anderson. He didn't leave the stage for the last 2 breaks because he wanted to fix what was going on. He knew that his darts were dipping too much. He knew that they were too small under that kind of pressure, and he was having to throw them so hard, I think he was hurting his arm.
Yeah, because it was just a thud to the board. There was no natural arc like they normally do.
Yeah, when Gary usually hits the board, it goes this lovely hovering angle, whereas if you watch the match back, you'll see that a lot of the darts, funny enough, there's a fly flying around, which is rather ironic. We'll get to that in a second. But they were coming in at a very steep angle, which means that there was less drag on the flight. And when it's a smaller one, it tends to dip at the end for him. I have no doubt in my mind that when he plays in the semi-finals tomorrow, he will have the usual blue flight in, or something of the same size, and he will get that natural arc, and I think he'll play better than last night.
Definitely, it's going to take a special performance to beat him at the Winter Gardens this year.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, Jeffrey Zwaan has done an amazing job this week, and Gary Anderson's come out and said he was the player of the tournament, which I'm not gonna not argue with him, because he played his best darts in the biggest game of his life last night. But it's a different kettle of fish when you're playing against a 2-time world champion. You know, no disrespect to Dave Chisnell or anything. Dave's one of the best players I've ever seen, but he's never got over the line on TV. Gary's done it quite a few times, so he's a slightly different beast.
Definitely. Okay, you touched on it there, Jeffrey against Chizzy again. We kept saying, can he do it again? Can he do it again? The answer is yes, he can.
I think if there's any doubt in any minds about Jeffrey now, I think that is gone now. He showed last night that he can take arguably the biggest scorer in the world when he's scoring, and he can stick with him and he can do damage. There was one shot early in the match that said to me that he was nerveless. He took it 127 with a treble 20, a treble 17 and a double 8. And I thought, this kid just doesn't get nervous. He's ready for this. And I wish I was that nervous at 22.
Definitely. Moving on to today's last 2 quarterfinals, we're going to start Darren Webster against Mensur. Again, this has got deep tiebreaker written all over it for me.
Yeah, I think the one thing that I've noticed with Darren Webster this week is the change of pace that he's had to employ at certain points. Now, you may think that this isn't a big deal, but Darren has this uncanny knack to adjust his game to different opponents. He can play super fast when he plays Van Gerwen. He can play slow and methodical if he needs to. It all depends on his comfort level. He said in his last 16 match that he wasn't feeling the fast game. He felt like he needed to be a bit more methodical and feel the dart in his hands a bit more. It worked really, really well against Rob Cross. I think tonight, when he comes out, when he finds a rhythm early, we're about to find out how good he is in this quarter-final. Is this the mental block for Darren Webster, making the quarter-final of this big tournament? He made the quarter-finals in the World Championships and came a cropper against Jamie Lewis. So will this be the first time that we start talking about Darren Webster for the Premier League? I think he's got a genuine shot of beating Mensur. I think this is going to be close. This could well be a really long game.
I agree, because Mensur's been sensational as well in this tournament. His finishing has been right up there with the very best.
Yeah.
And he's not leaving double 14 as much either.
He's not, but when he does, most of the time he's hitting it. ironically, at the end of the Ian White game, it was 7 that came to his rescue. There's the fly again. But I just think that this game has got long written all over it, just like you have, Phil. This could be a longer night than last night. I mean, we expected, looking at the watches last night around about 9:30, that this was all over. And then it just kept going on and on and on. And we didn't leave the building until after 11 o'clock. So it just goes to show that what I've said about this being the best match play ever, it's definitely delivering. It's not over yet.
No, definitely. Moving on to the second quarter final of the evening, we've got Peter Wright against Simon Whitlock. Again, this could be special because both have played very well leading into this.
They have. I think you've got to play well to get to a quarter final at Blackpool. But if you dissect the form, you have to go with Wright because of the way he got himself up for the Hybrex game. He almost played a little bit of mind games with Kim. But Kim didn't play poorly at all.
No.
Look at the way that Peter played, averaging the best part of 108 with a setup that is alien. Well, we don't have to dissect that because that's what he does. But his 140 scoring in his previous game, if he brings that, Simon Whitlock's gone. As simple as that. No,
definitely. I'd say Wright was sensational. It was doubling as well. 105 average and only hit 2 maximums is a startling stat.
I know you don't see many performances like that, but when I look back to when Peter Wright made the world final, he used the small bulbous barrel and he did have 105 averages in that tournament, and he did have astronomical double statistics. I think he was 56% for that last game against Kim Hybrex. I think on some level Peter knows that when he's got these darts with the shorter barrel and the little bit more width, he gets a little bit more forgiveness on the lies above tops. And I just get the feeling he probably is going to play his best darts with these barrels. If he sticks with them in this tournament, he's going to be a genuine threat.
Definitely. Well, everyone, that's the lineup for today at the BetVictor World Matchplay. I can't wait. It should set the semi-finals up absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, no flies, please.
Yeah. Myself and Paul will be going live again in the venue later on, so please check us out at Live Darts. Cheers, everyone.